Okay, so in the previous video we looked at compound interest questions when you're looking for f, compound interest questions when you're looking for p, and this is when you're missing, or you're looking for the interest rate charged or given. Okay, so you're missing I. That's what this video is about. And to start off, we'll take a look at this part C of a Leaving Cert question that came up back in 2000 and what year was it? 2017. Okay, so this came up a couple of years ago, and let's have a read of it. It says, a company invested 25,000 for 3 years at a fixed rate of compound interest. Full stop. So they're not telling us the compound interest. At the end of the 3 years, it amounted to 26,530. Find the rate of interest. Right, so do we have F? Do we have P? Do we have the interest rate? And do we have the term or the time of this? So let's take a look at this question. A company invested 25,000. So remember, that was the original investment. That is the principal. Okay, the starting point. For 3 years. Okay, so that's obviously going to be the time involved. At a fixed rate of compound interest. We don't know what it is. Okay, we don't know. At the end of the 3 years, at the end, so the final amount was 26,530 euro and 20 cent. Sorry, 26,530 euro and 20 cent. So this is all the information that we have. We have F, we have P, we have T. We just don't have the I. That's why what we're looking at here are questions where we're missing the I. Now, what method shall we use to do this? Well, let's just go back here, and now I'll actually make it a little bit easier by bringing this part over here where we can see it a little bit better, and then we can zoom in on that, because this is our steps to do this question. Okay, what's step 1? Oops, I want to do that. Get my pen back. Step 1 is I need to write down the formula. Okay, so it's the same formula every time. It's F equals P 1 plus the interest rate to the power of T. Just on that, remember in the previous video I discussed whether you use a plus or a minus here. You only ever use a minus if it uses the word depreciates. So if it goes down in value. Everything else really, it's a plus. So 99% of the time you're using a plus. It's just for those questions where something that you bought goes down in value. Now we're not talking about that here. We're talking about an investment. Okay, and investments should go up in a perfect world. Okay, we've done step 1. We've written down the formula. Now let's fill in what you have. So do I have F? Yeah, it's over here. It's 26,530 and 20 cent. Do I have P? Yeah, it's 25,000. So 25,000. 1 is 1, doesn't change. Plus, I don't have the interest rate, so I'm just going to leave it as I. And then, sorry, I have T. What am I writing T for? I've got T, it's 3. So put 3 up there. Okay, I've done that. I filled in what you have. Now, I need to get I on its own. You see, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I've been asked to find in the question. Find the rate of interest. So essentially now this is an algebra question where you have to get the letter on its own. Okay, we're missing I, so we've got to find it. And we've got to find it by gradually bringing over everything onto the left-hand side so that I will be left there on its own. Now, what do I do first? So remember, I'm trying to get I on its own. The first thing I do is I bring P over and under. So this P is the first thing I move. Okay? At the minute it's multiplying by what's in the bracket. So if I move it, it's going to divide 26,530.2 under 25,000. So that 25,000 is going to divide in there. Okay, I've moved it. So that's done. Check. I'll just highlight it so you can see where I moved it to. I moved it from there over to there. That was that bit. Bring P over and under. Okay, what's the next thing I need to do? I need to, let me do a different color with this one. Let me do yellow. I need to bring the T over. Okay, so I need to bring this power over to the other side. Now when you move a power, remember, it doesn't become a minus, or it doesn't divide, or it doesn't do anything like that. It changes into a root. That's what happens to a power when you move it. So I'm going to move it now. It's going to come over here. It's going to come over to this side. And when it comes over to this side, it changes to a root. And because it's the power of 3, it changes to the root 3. Okay? Now everything else that was there is still there. Some people would have typed that into the calculator by now. They would have typed this into the calculator. I don't like doing that. I like to leave it all to the end. Use the calculator once at the very end. And that means everything is kept tidy. Because I guarantee you'll have loads and loads of decimals. And you won't know where to cut the decimals. Do you go to 2 decimals? Do you go to 3 decimals? So you just leave everything until the very end. Okay, we've moved the power. And now all that's left over here is the 1 plus the I. So what's next? Now let me just make sure I show you what I just did there. I moved the power over and it changed to a root. There's a button on the calculator for that procedure. When it does come to the time to type it in, you press a button on the calculator specifically for that. Okay, new highlighter color, blue. We bring over the 1. So we've got to bring this over now. We've almost got I on its own now. We just need a few, we have to do a couple more things. So what's over here is root 3, 26,530 and 20 cent over 25,000. We're going to bring over that 1 and it's going to become a minus 1. Okay, and the I is still there. So there it is there. That's that bit. We just brought it over, plonked it in there. There it is there. Okay, now I type all of my workings into the calculator. So it's much better to leave it till this stage before you type into the calculator. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to type this into the calculator. Okay, so you get 1.02 minus 1 equals I, or if you did it all together you would just get 0.02. So if you typed in the entire thing including the minus 1, I just did this bit to begin with, okay, but I'm just going to type the whole thing in, you get 0.02 equals I. Now I'm just going to make a little bit more room for us, so I'm going to move this down a bit, if it'll let me. Okay, that'll do. And we're nearly there because I just need to turn this now into a percentage. And to turn it into a percentage, I multiply it by 100. So I multiply by 100. When you do, you get 2%. So that's what the interest rate was. Okay? So we found what I was, 2%. Now there were a lot of steps. So you have to take your time. And it's all about gradually getting I on its own. So let's just recap. The first thing we did was we moved the P over and it went under. Then we moved the power over and it changed into a root. Then we moved the 1 over and it just became a minus 1. Then we used the calculator to tidy it all up, and that's what we got when we did that. And then finally we changed it back into a percentage by multiplying by 100. So now you might like to try one here. So it's the same thing. Paul would like his investment of 8,000 to amount to 9,000. So the principal, the original amount he's going to invest is 8,000, and he would like the final amount to be 9,000. That's how much money he would like to have at the end. And he's willing to save for 3 years. What annual rate of compound interest? So what would the interest rate need to be? So there's our details. We're going to write down the formula. F is equal to P1 plus the interest rate by the time. You fill in what you have. So we have P, it's 8,000. So that's going to go there. We have F, it's 9,000. So that's going to go there. We have T, it's 3. So that's going to go there. We know what 1 is. 1 is 1, so there's nothing going to change there. The thing is, we're missing the I. So these are these hard questions. I'm going to ask you to pause the video, okay? And try and do this yourself. You can use the steps that are just found over here. I hope you are able to see them. And use them. Gradually work your way through the question. And when you have it done, press play and see if you got it right. Okay, so pause the video now. Okay, I'm going to continue on. I hope you paused it and gave it a go. So we've written down the formula. We've done that already. Now fill in what you have. Okay, so F is 9,000. So 9,000. The principal is 8,000. 1 is 1. The interest rate I don't know. And T is 3. Okay, did that. Now I've got to get I on its own. What's the first thing I need to bring over? Can you remember? The 8,000. That's going to need to come over to the other side. So the 9,000 is still there, but it's now going to be divided by the 8,000. Remember, P over and under goes under. Now this is all still there. So I've done that. No need to type it into the calculator. We'll just wait till the end to do that. Next up, whoopsie daisy. Next up is the 3. So bring the 3 over. But remember, it's a power of 3. So if you bring a power, it changes to a root. Remember now, there's a button on the calculator specifically. You'll see it. You'll have to press Shift first. And it'll have a little 3 there. And you type that in first. Okay, now the 1 plus the I is there. And then the last thing I need to bring over is the 1. So it's going to come over to this side and it's going to change to a minus. Okay, so root 3, 9,000 over 8,000 minus 1. Make sure that is not underneath this. Okay, it's not part of that, it's separate. Equals I. Okay, let's type it into the calculator. So I'm typing basically all of this into the calculator, all at the same time. It saves me an awful lot of time rather than using the calculator 4 or 5 times in this question. I just wait till I get to this point and I just use it once. And when I've typed all of that into the calculator, I get 0.04004191115. Now equals I. Now ordinarily, of course, you're not going to leave it like this, but just write it down for the time being until we've totally finished. Very last step is multiply by 100. So if I multiply that by 100, I get 4.004191115% equals I. Now what do you think? What do you think is the percentage there? Take a look at that. What would you class that as a percentage? It's 4%, isn't it? 4.00. Okay, you'd normally only go to 2 decimal places, so we're dealing with 4%. That's the interest rate for this particular question. Okay, I hope you did well on that and I hope it helped.